Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are having a lovely morning, lovely week. This week has certainly been an interesting one for me. Been doing a lot of clearing, and that is actually not that new to me. What's new to me is the type of clearing I'm doing. I have been clearing past. By past, I mean in this lifetime, relationships of like the romantic kind. And that is something that has been an interesting one. I am used to just, how do they say it? Brush it under the rug and then just move on and never think about it. I even have developed friendships with these past lovers, but never really dealing with what went on in the relationships. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it has to do with Venus retrograde, because Venus is the planet of love. And so I have been having to face myself and these deep-rooted emotions and issues, that I had buried and suppressed. And you know what? I am learning to love the process. And so the other night, it was interesting. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was led to this video on YouTube. I'm not much of like a YouTube surfer. I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos. But this one really hit home. And I will share the link right below, because although it's titled Twin Flame something, I believe it can actually help everyone. I mean, it was meant to help twin flames, I think, come together or whatever, cope with each other. But I think in the romance regard, it's very helpful. And this guy mentioned the 5 wounds that your soul has. And he goes through each one. And if I remember correctly, it's like the wounds and how you mask them. And I believe there is rejection, abandonment, betrayal, justice, and humiliation. I'm not saying them in order, but those are the 5 wounds that every soul has, and you experience these wounds in various ways. It could be through the romantic relationship, it could be through friendship, it could be parental relationships, but from all relationships that you have had, you have these wounds, and some of you may have all of them, some of you may have some of them. And so I definitely identified with a couple. And so last night, again, I felt the energies, the angels, the ears ringing, and emotions just washing over me. And the emotion that I felt was betrayal. I guess I needed to clear that. It was brought up to the surface, to my attention. And as I started meditating on it, past relationship came forward. And this is my biggest, most toxic relationship. I think just about everyone has one of those. It lasted for about 5 years. Of the 5 years, I believe maybe the first 6 months were truly joyous. The rest of the time, I was just holding on. Because I thought, well, I put in this much work. The family likes him. They want me to stay with him. They want me to marry him. So I'm just going to make it work. And completely ignored what my soul wanted. And so the lessons came through. And you know what? I'm learning to love. I'm learning to love the process. So anyway, so that relationship came forward. And immediately, because the whole thing was betrayal, I went into victim mode. yeah, he did this. He stepped down on the relationship, did so much to me. How do I forgive him? I need to forgive him. And so as I was going through the process of forgiving him, observing my feelings and emotions, a voice came through and told me, you also need to ask for forgiveness. And I was like, what? How? Like, I totally was good to him, and he stepped out on me. I don't understand. What am I asking for forgiveness for? And then they showed me another view, another perspective of how the relationship really went. So there's your view, there's his view, and as everyone says, there is the higher point of view, God's point of view. So that's what I was looking at last night. And so what I saw and what I totally didn't realize was how extremely limiting I was to him. Now, this is not to say that I'm pointing the finger at myself. I made him go cheat. I made him do all those horrible things that he did. That's not what this is about. This is about viewing the situation from all angles, because it really does take two to tango. We were doing stuff to each other. We were reacting to each other. And so what my guides and angels were telling me, when it comes to relationships, and this applies to all relationships, we go through what we call the honeymoon stage, where you're just so into each other, you love each other's company, you build that trust, and then you open your heart to that person. That's just how it goes. You know, some people say, I gave my heart to this guy and he just crushed it or whatever, broke it. But really, you have a part, you have a role in that. You break each other's heart. It's what happens. This is how you expand, this is how you grow, and this is how you learn to heal yourself and others. And so, yeah, there is the honeymoon stage. You're building that trust. You love being around each other. That energy you generate from the two souls merging and having these beautiful experiences and generating these incredibly high vibrational energies. What happens is we get addicted to that, and we want that all the time. So that would mean you would stay stagnant in that space. Sorry, those are my cats. So there is really no growth opportunity in that, and that's when you start limiting each other, because you want that moment. You want that moment to last forever. But what actually happens is you open your heart to each other, you build that trust, and then you start showing all parts of you to that person. You're becoming vulnerable to that person. And so what we tend to do in these relationships, when that happens, we either run away because we don't like all parts of either ourselves or that person. That person holds a mirror to you, so sometimes what you see is a reflection of you, and they trigger or bring something out in you that you don't necessarily want to deal with. So you end up saying, oh, he brings out the worst in me. He's just not good for me. And so we go through these back and forths. Kitty wars. Okay, I'm going to try to focus and send that situation energy. Okay. And so, yeah, so you don't like what you see. That person is being vulnerable to you. You're not realizing it half the time. They're telling you what their likes and dislikes are. They're telling you, you know, when you do this, you make me feel that way. They're trying to communicate with you what's in here that needs healing. What we don't see is that call for help. And so some of the times what we try to do, at least what I did in that relationship, was completely try to control the situation and control him And I even remember saying, like, God, why can't we go back to how it was? So counterproductive. I'm not validating his feelings at all, or mine. I am constantly living in the past and that good memory that we have. It's not totally a bad thing, because that could also be healing, to remember the good times. But to stay in that means you're not truly paying attention to the present. You're not in the moment, you're not in the present, you're not appreciating the present moment. So that will cause a disconnect. And so there's different ways that these situations can go when that disconnect happens. One or both parties of the relationship will choose to step out and see what else is out there, because they feel so incredibly limited and controlled. It's not comfortable to them. Or they can choose to turn to anger and get abusive emotionally, physically. This is another way that they know how to react. Or they can just hold it in. Hold it in and build that resentment. So there's various ways that this can go. And so I was shown all of this in my relationship with that person. And so now I understand why, along with forgiving myself, and I'll go to that, and him, I also have to ask for forgiveness. And so sometimes, or other times, when we feel betrayal, and this also happens to me, when you meet someone, sometimes you get these red flags, if you want to call them. You go against your better judgment and you decide to explore that situation. And it turns out that that little voice in your head was right all along. But there's nothing wrong with you choosing to have a lesson, choosing to have an experience, because, again, that is what your soul wants and needs. That's what you needed to learn to grow from that situation. But what we instead do is we get mad at ourselves. And I do that. I know I do. I would tell that person, I am not mad at you because you did exactly what I expected you to do, but I'm mad at myself for allowing this to happen. So I betrayed myself. I went against my better judgment. And that is so unhealthy, because you learn to grow a dislike for yourself. You lose that self-love, self-confidence. You lose that trust in yourself and in your judgment. So what I was told and taught, and what I saw and learned from all of this, is to love every experience, every process, every situation. And know that I have grown from it. I have love for all of these people that have come into my life, have hurt me, and now have moved on. On some level, I know that I still love them because I'm still friendly with them. I'm friends with them. What I needed to do was work on myself, because I have kept everything in. I have suppressed it. And now it's all coming to the surface. And I'm dealing with it. And it's such a beautiful process, a beautiful realization, and a growth opportunity. I have grown from it, and I don't think that I'm going to approach my future relationships in that way anymore, because now I have a better understanding of the human relation, of what the soul wants and needs, of staying in the moment. So that was the message for today. When you are learning to release, heal, and deal with these past experiences, look at it from all angles, from your point of view and from the other person's point of view. And you will find many, many lessons you've learned that you no longer have to learn again. And so what that means is, like, sometimes I would feel like, oh God, I've already forgiven this person. I've released this already. Why is it coming back? It's because you didn't do it with all honesty. You weren't very authentic about it. And that's not on purpose. It's just sometimes we choose not to see all angles of the situation because our ego is not allowing us to. Our ego is telling us, you are the victim. He was the wrong one. And so therefore it's all his fault. But in reality, like we said before, it takes two to tango. So being honest and being authentic is truly important. Not only to heal and release these painful memories or past experiences, but also it is what brings you closer to your higher self. It changes your energy field, and you start attracting like vibrations. You start having more authentic experiences and exchanges with people. And then so you inspire them to be even more authentic. And it goes just on and on and on, like a rippling effect. This is how we heal each other, the world, change our vibration as a collective, and heal and assist Gaia in her ascension. It's all relative. So I think I'm going to end it here. That's the message for today from the spirit world. I hope it helps you all. Much love and appreciation to all of you. Thank you for viewing this. I hope to do more of these videos, and I will see you on the next one. So much love, everyone.